What is good, YouTube? Coming at y'all again with another video. In the past couple of videos, I've been getting some comments that have been saying listen to a song called Tables Turn, and apparently there are 3 different parts to this song. This was the very first video that popped up. The violent backstory of the Rudest diss track. You know we gotta listen to the lore first before we even get into the song. It's only right. So yeah, let's get into the video.
UK drill fans are going wild right now after a West London rapper called Abzsav dropped probably the rudest 3 songs to ever come out. In today's video, we are going into the backstory of these 3 diss tracks, which will clear up a lot about why they are so violent. Let's get into it. So if you're not up to date, like I said before, West London rapper Abzsav just dropped 3 of the rudest diss tracks that ever come out. So rude and disrespectful that it's even opening the question of if dissing the dead should be illegal. Now I know a couple of you guys probably have not heard the songs, so I've put them on the screen now, but we'll be breaking them down and going through the history behind all of this. So the rapper who dropped these tunes is a rapper called Abzsav, who's from an area called Norfolk at the edge of West London. And from the outside in, it doesn't look like the worst area, but Norfolk is home to Abzav's gang, N-Gang. N-Gang is also part of a bigger gang across the London borough of Ealing, which is a collective of members from towns in Ealing called South.
To the viewers that actually live in London, are any of you guys around any of the neighborhoods that are like constantly being brought up in these UK gang stories? Because I noticed you guys know so much, so I always wonder, like, is it just like common knowledge, or do you guys actually really do your research? Because I'm sure you guys know there's a huge difference between actually experiencing it versus reading it online. So I was trying to see if there's any of you guys actually out there that's actually active. Not saying there's any of you guys out there like trying to stab people up, but I'm just saying like just around it, like just really out there.
Greenford and of course Norfolk. The reason they're called 156 is because the areas covered in the gang are UB1, UB5 and UB6 postcodes.
Okay.
156 beef quite a lot of West London, especially its surrounding areas, but they're mainly into it with a gang from Rainers Lane, which is a 7-minute drive from Norfolk where Abzsav is from. But 156 are better known for their feud with another gang from West London called CGM, which is infamously the gang of the big rapper Digga D. And despite the beef between Rainers Lane and 156 being more personal, most people are probably familiar with CGM and 156 issues, mainly just because CGM are much more well known than Rainers Lane, with CGM rapper Digga D hitting mainstream type of views on his songs, and other members like Rack 5 and Horrid 1 hitting decent numbers as well. But a big reason to do with CGM's
is Digga D worth listening to? Like, I try to stay away from like a lot of mainstream rappers, like that's why I haven't even listened to like Central C and Dave. It's a dude named Dave, right? I always felt like the ones that are still like in the city, still active, still actually living in the situations that they're living in are always the better artists, because you know their music has more substance because everything they're rapping about is like everyday shit. But you guys let me know if any of these mainstream dudes are actually worth listening to, because if not, I'll probably just stay clear from them, man.
blow up on the scene was actually to do with 156. CGM burst onto the scene around 2016 to 17 under their old group's name 1011, and they blew up faster than any other group at the time, gaining millions upon millions of views in some of their first songs as a group. But one of the main reasons for CGM's blow up was due to a murder which took place in the beef between Rainers Lane and 156. On April 11th, 2017, a 156 member called T-Whiz barely even just walked out of his Norfolk home until he was approached by 2 Rainers Lane members. T-Whiz was heard arguing with the 2 Rainers Lane members before he was stabbed in his stomach. The 2 attackers then fled the scene, and sadly T-Whiz died later that day. CGM blew up a lot on their early songs due to this death, with CGM mocking him in every song, making the name T.
See, I'm kind of glad that they actually give me some backstory on the dude T-Whiz, because bro, in my previous video, they were talking about him so much, because in the section where that gang specifically was rapping, they were talking about T-Whiz so much, how they smoking him in the pack, and how they putting him in a spliff, and how they rolled him up in the Riz. They were talking about him so much, so I figured that he had to be some type of like, I don't want to say prolific, but a huge catalyst into some type of beef somewhere, because they were going so hard on him.
Up a lot on their early songs due to this death, with CGM mocking him in every song, making the name T-Whiz a well-known name in the UK just off his death. CGM even mocked T-Whiz so much that members were even banned from saying his name in any future songs.
I heard it was like that.
T-Whiz
I heard it was
a
really like that out there.
Called T-Rose, and him and the other guy actually managed to beat the murder case due to self-defense. After beating the case, T-Rose then went on to make a drill song about the murder, while also recreating the scene of the murder in the music video.
That's
and even
fucking
while years
foul,
went by
man.
after T-Wiz's murder, 156 members were still out to get him. T-Rose moved around 3 hours from London to a small town called Telford. 156 caught wind of this and rid out 3 hours to Telford, caught T-Rose and shot him to death. 3 years after the murder of T-Whiz. 2 hours before T-Rose's death on the 13th of October. Back in London.
See, bro, look, that's one of the crazy things about being in the life, man. Because when you talk about these people, dead ops and dead friends and shit, bro, they do not forget. You were sitting there talking about a dude for 3 years, and then you eventually get caught up, and then they get you. Which is kind of interesting on how real life works, because it all comes back full circle. One person kills the other person, and then everybody starts to mock that dude and start dissing him, and then eventually another person comes and catches that person, and then it's like, oh, haha, hee hee on that end, and then another person comes and catches that person. And I know they don't really care about that. You know, everybody's just trying to get their points. Everybody's trying to get the scores in. Everybody wants to be above the next person, and it's insane that that's their life and they can't escape it. They gotta just live with it, and it is what it is.
Another batch of 156 members were also driving around Hayes with a shotgun and revolver, looking for members of another rival gang to 156 called Purple Haze. When they spotted someone who allegedly had links to the gang called Shaq, the members in the car then proceeded to shoot Shaq multiple times with the revolver, sadly killing him on the scene. The car was then dumped, doused with petrol, and burnt a few miles away from the shooting. 5 people have been charged with this murder so far, including a 13-year-old boy, but are yet to go to trial. Abzsav mentions both T-Whiz and Shaq's murder in his Table Turns 1 song.
He's too young,
saying
man.
24 hours 2 got dropped. And even at the start of his second diss track, he mocks T-Rose by pretending he's a skeleton. The reason for this was because a couple years back, CGM member Horrid1 mocked T-Whiz by pretending he's a skeleton of him. See, a year before the double murder of Shaq and T-Rose, the tables were very much turned in this feud. Now, if you listen to CGM rapper Digga D's tunes, you'll probably hear or see him mentioning a guy called JoJo, or you might have seen him with a diamond ring with the words "Free JoJo" engraved in it. Well, JoJo was a Rainers Lane member who was getting into it heavy with 156, so much that the feds had to relocate him more than an hour away from Rainers Lane to East London and Ilford to keep him out of trouble after he caught a couple cases. But unfortunately, this didn't stop him from getting into it with 156 members, which was clear on November the 18th, 2017. On this day, JoJo left his Ilford home carrying a black motorcycle helmet at 4:45 PM and got a train from Ilford to Norfolk, territory of the 156 gang. He then met up with 3 friends, and around 10 PM, with 2 mopeds and shanks, they started to circle around Norfolk looking for 156 members. Unfortunately, on some bad timing, some affiliates of 156 just happened to grab some drinks from a shop and were heading back to their friend's house to enjoy their Saturday night.
Do these dudes really just be home and then get up and then they just go out hunting? Like, they just go out and just trying to find other ops from other neighborhoods and other gangs? Bro, these dudes treat this shit as if it's some type of sport. Like I said, these dudes, they just want to just get another score and another score and another score. They just want to be on top of the next person. It's literally a game for them.
When they got to a road called Newnham Close in Norfolk, which was the same road their friend T-Whiz happened to be stabbed to death a few months back, JoJo and his friends spotted the group and jumped off their mopeds to try to catch up to them. The 156 group split up and started running for their lives. Once JoJo and his friends got back on their mopeds looking for the group, they managed to spot an 18-year-old called Jason Isaacs in a dead end separated from his group, which resulted with Jason being stabbed 8 times from a sword and machete. Jason managed to get himself to a friend's house.
He lived
to a hospital, but a few days later, sadly, he was pronounced dead.
I was gonna say he lived.
Were dumped, but later recovered by police. And once the forensic team investigated them, JoJo's blood was discovered on one of the bikes. Not only that, but when the feds pulled up to JoJo's house, they recovered the same puffer jacket, hoodie, and helmet which was shown on the CCTV from the attack. JoJo was eventually charged with the murder, but the only issue was that there was 3 more people to catch. The evidence was crazy on JoJo, but the feds didn't want him just to go down for the murder. But JoJo refused to testify against his friends, and ultimately was sentenced to life with a minimum of 20 years. Just like T-Whiz, Jay was heavily mocked in songs, mainly from Rainers Lane members, with no type of remorse for the 2 young lives which were lost. And you could tell mentally this really took a toll on Abzsav, who had just lost 2 of his friends. In the recent interview he just done with Feuds the Engineer, he talks about how people were dissing his friends for years, and back then for a lot of people it was all fun and games, without anyone realizing that certain guys actually lost a friend in real life. He goes on to say that the reason he called these diss tracks Tables Turn because he was just replying to all the disses his gang has been getting for years.
That's dope.
And when we actually look at the lyrics of his Tables Turn songs, you can see that a lot.
Quick little sidebar. Do you guys kind of think that Feuds the Engineer be like low-key instigating a lot of shit? Not saying like he's like starting it, but like allowing all of these drill artists to get on his platform and spit their songs and having them diss all these type of people and upload it to YouTube, because his videos don't get taken down. He has videos with countless drill rappers. I'm sure you guys know that better than me. And if you listen to the songs, it's just countless diss. Only good thing is that he'll blur out their names, which is good, but people who actually been around there, I'm sure you guys know who they're talking about, obviously. Or is it not that serious and I'm just kind of like looking too deep into it? Y'all let me know.
Gang. But despite all of this, some people still think Abzsav went too overboard, talking about a lot of sensitive situations.
I think that's an understatement.
Like a CGM member called AP's mum dying. He then even goes into dissing big UK drill rapper Russ by pretty much saying CGM can't try what they done to Russ, with him dissing AP's mum.
Never heard of Russ either.
A backstory on this: basically around 2 years ago, just like Abzsav, drill rapper Russ also dissed AP's mum in the group chat between Russ and CGM members.
That's
At
foul.
the time, Russ was cool with CGM, mainly because his right hand, another drill rapper called T-Whiz, is cousins with a couple CGM members. After dissing AP's mum, Russ had the show, but after decided to go to CGM's block, thinking he's still cool with them. But the tables turned and CGM members robbed Russ for his chain. For a period of time,
I was gonna ask you guys if you think I should check out this Russ guy, but never mind. He definitely deserved that. How are you gonna sit up here and talk down on someone's dead mother and then try to show up around them like everything is okay? I wouldn't want any type of snakes in my grass. I wouldn't want any type of grimy people around me. I'm glad they robbed his ass. He deserved it. If any of you guys disagree on that, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Seemed like 156 and Russ were cool though, with a 156 member called Nito MB, even featuring on a remix of Russ's hit single 630. But once the song came out, Nito started demanding all over his socials that he wants the song to be taken down, which it eventually was. But despite these CGM and Russ disses, it's clear that Rainers Lane was the biggest focal point on these songs, with countless disses towards them, mentioning situations like a double shooting on Rainers Lane members in 2018, or when 156 members ran into a kebab shop and shot at a couple Rainers Lane members in 2020. But one of the most painful disses was on a situation that took place quite recently, on the 11th of June 2021. A 15-year-old Rainers Lane member who went by the name J Taps was on his way to school around 8:30 in the morning when he unfortunately bumped into a 156 member. In video footage, which is way too graphic to post on here, you can see the two get into a tussle, which ended with J Taps being stabbed multiple times and soaked in the blood of pool in his own school clothes. This was literally broad daylight in front of herds of kids making their way towards school. After the stabbing, the kid ran away from the scene, with even builders who are working on the site nearby trying to catch up to the kid until the police came. A 156 member called Slims is currently awaiting trial for this murder, who was also only 15 and was making his way to school, which is crazy to think that this feud is running so deep that school kids from each side are turning on each other.
I am in complete disbelief, but I completely understand why that happens. And as children, you're so impressionable. So you see all these gangs, you see all these high-ranking people, and you think, man, that looks so cool. And then you join them, and then you get put into the same beef as them, and then you run into somebody, and then it happens to be the end of you. Shit like that should not be happening. And that's just the sad reality of what happens. Seems like you can't even run from it.
In Abzav's second diss track, he even mocked J Taps for not making it to his 16th birthday, which is sad to know that somebody so young lost their life to this feud. Just before J Tap's death, he was seen in a couple pictures throwing up gang signs. And literally just a few days before his death, he was seen in a Rainers Lane music video called For Real, which would have made him a target for 156 members. Apart from Rainers Lane, Abzsav also takes a dig at pretty much half of West London. Areas like West Drayton, South Acton and Wildstone, who are all lesser known areas to have conflicts with 156, which really makes you deep how much beef 156 actually have. But I want to know what everybody thinks of these tracks. Do people think Abzsav went too far on these? Or do people think it's justified due to the previous mocking of his friends? And most importantly, do people think these tracks are even worth it? It's definitely got the whole community talking and hearing about Abzsav, which could work to his favor in his future career. But
see, I personally feel like in the gang life, all that shit is justified. There's no rules, there's no laws, everybody's free game. So if you sit up here and you talk on my dead friend for years on end, and then one of your people die, and I start talking about them, you have no right to get upset. You can kick rocks because that doesn't make any fucking fucking sense if you're gonna sit up here and get upset when I do it, but it was cool when you did it. Nah, that's not how that shit works. Everybody should know in the gang life, it's an eye for an eye. Don't sit up and get upset on the internet. You better go get it back in blood.
With the police taking down his songs, his YouTube channel, and even his TikTok, he's probably gonna have trouble in the future making any songs without them being taken down, with the police pretty much having control of what is allowed to be put out there. These tracks also might get him blackballed from the industry, with a lot of labels and shows not really wanting to get involved with controversial artists, which can mess up their brand, which may even prevent other artists from wanting to work with him also. I do think Abzsav is a very talented artist, and if he plays his cards right, he could capitalize on the boost of clout he's now got. But if he doesn't, he's in danger of letting these tracks overshadow his career. It's been your boy Kid Nerd, and peace out.
I'm probably in the ballpark on why they don't want to have these type of artists in the industry. Because like, think for a second, why would you want to have an artist that comes and brings all this baggage with them, all these type of ops, all these type of enemies, people trying to kill them, putting all this money into this artist, trying to promote them and get other people to notice them when they possibly could be dead in a couple weeks? And when you reply to all these disses with more disses, you put a huge ass target on your back. And I doubt any of these labels, any of these people actually want to deal with that type of issue. They probably try to find people like Central C and Dave and shit who make that type of mainstream music and stay out the way. I don't think it's anybody you really can blame here. I think it's just more of like survival of the fittest at this point. Next, we'll be checking out Abzav's Tables Turn. I'm glad he didn't play any of the lyrics because I didn't want to get spoiled. So if you guys tune into my next video, you'll be able to see me react to Tables Turn by Abzsav and be able to give my thoughts on the video. But other than that, I think we've heard enough today, man. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It helps me a lot. And drop a like on the video. It is your boy Burger Life Mark, and I'll catch you on the next one.